guys, welcome to the 3D Animation Hub. I'm Brian, a 3D animator, and today we're talking to the very talented Jeremy Schaefer. Now, if you guys haven't seen his short film, The Box Assassin, you need to go check it out right now. I'll have the links down below. This guy is a one-man army. He's responsible for all the visuals of the film, and let me tell you, the visuals are fantastic. From animation, to lighting, to rendering, to camera movement, to composition, just everything. Just beautifully done. And what's crazy is that this is a student film. When I first watched this, I thought this was done by a seasoned veteran and someone who knew exactly what they were doing and who's done this before, but this was his first 3D film and it just looks spectacular. So in this podcast, I asked him about what he learned, his process, what he would do differently, and a bunch of other juicy questions. We kind of started things off as like an interview, but really quickly it kind of just turned into a conversation, and he's a super fun guy and he's very knowledgeable, so I hope you enjoy it and I hope you learn something. Let's hop in. Let's start this from the beginning. How's it going, man? How you doing?
Really good. Good to talk with you.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. Your film looks absolutely amazing. So I gotta ask, where's your art background? I think you say this is a school project, right?
Right. So I went to Ringling College of Art and Design for college, and so this was a senior thesis film that I made in my last year. The semester before, in your junior year, you work on pre-production. So you do that, and then it rolls over into your senior year, and you're doing all the production aspect of the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play your film in silence in the background just now. So you had no art background beforehand?
No. Well, no. I did, but I would say it's a bit different. Everyone has these interesting paths to where you get to, and I mean, like, Ringling's a art school and I was in a computer animation program, but the background I came from was more of a film background.
I see.
Not so much art. So like I started out watching a lot of YouTube channels like Quarter Digital, Freddie W, Film Riot, if you've heard of any of those. Yeah. So they taught me a lot about just general filmmaking concepts, and then also just about cameras, because me and my brother were able to save up and we bought a camera together, a DSLR. We had lenses, so I was able to understand how that works, how f-stop works, how shutter speed works, and just a really physical side of filmmaking, I guess. And so that was really great for a long time. And then I got more into the software side of things, because a lot of those channels do visual effects and 3D work, and I got really interested in that. So after a while, I started getting more and more into the computer. Then I saw 3D animated films that are fully animated, and I just really started to gravitate towards that direction. Eventually, I got in touch with someone who had made a CG film in school. I emailed them. I was emailing a bunch of people just asking for advice. I was like, hey, how do I get into animation? How do I do this? I think at the time I was actually setting out to make my first animated film. This was when I was 17. It was stupid. It wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
I was everyone goes through that. And
everybody.
So I emailed this guy and I was asking for advice. I'm like, how do you model this or something like that? And he emailed me back and he's like, do you know how to draw at all? Do you know any art fundamentals? And I was like, no, why do you have to know how to draw for 3D animation? I was like, it's in the computer. So I was very, just clueless, but he's like, no, man, start keeping a sketchbook, drawing from life. And so then I kind of saw where, animation came into play, of just understanding drawing and kind of that basis. It's not important. It's not essential for animators nowadays or people in 3D to be able to draw.
That's true.
But again, I think, it definitely helps. It doesn't hurt you at all. It just builds. Again, the film thing, it didn't hurt me when I went into Maya that I had used a DSLR and I had held a real camera.
It shows, trust me, it shows. Some of your shots, the composition's amazing, the camera works really well done. And you can definitely tell that you had some sort of background, or you had prior knowledge to filmmaking before making this film.
Right. I appreciate that. And I mean, I learned a lot at the school as well, but that kind of background, I think it does help. And so, just it was a weird, culmination of being into that. And then I got into drawing, and that was around being a senior in high school. And with that, I was able to get enough of a portfolio together to apply to Ringling and get accepted.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So then after that, I went to Ringling, and just
did you
kind of worked.
In Ringling, did you start with 3D right away, or how did the program work there?
No, yeah, Ringling's interesting. Ringling, the first year is all fundamentals.
Right.
So
makes sense.
you're just doing life drawing, painting. You do your second semester at Ringling, which I think they're shifting it now and changing it, which is probably for the better. They're getting people into 3D a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But like when we started, like the first time we did 3D, it was in clay, and we did like life sculpting in clay.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and then your second semester, you start animation, but you start animation on paper, not even like a Cintiq. Like you do traditional animation on paper. So I think it's kind of nice in a sense because it like forces you to just think about it that way. There's no fancy tools. It's like it's pencil paper. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I guess if you don't know what you want to do and you don't have a target of where you want to be, then I guess it helps you explore other aspects of animation and see what your interests are.
Totally, and it helps some people realize that they don't like animation.
Exactly.
They hate it.
Yeah.
So it is work for that in kind of that sense. But trying to remember with as far as 3D goes, I had messed around in 3D prior to school.
Okay.
And like I was really familiar with After Effects because I did a lot of like muzzle flash tutorials.
Right. Freddie W. Yeah.
Exactly. But also I got into like Minecraft animations. Like I followed this whole series on YouTube, and this dude had like a 40-part series of like a detailed tutorial on how to create your own 3D Minecraft character and like Maya. Yeah, and
that's
so
actually
like
pretty crazy. That stuff blew up. I remember that stuff really blew up.
Oh yeah, it was huge. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can make this and like I'll like it'll be great. And I never really animated much with it, but I mean I went through the full process of modeling it and like UV mapping it, and even at the time I didn't fully understand it. Like I still didn't fully understand UV mapping, but like I watched the tutorials, which are like 2 hours long, and I like paused it and made sure I inserted the value. So I finished the character and like rigged it and like painted weights, but basically by the end of that I was comfortable in the software. Like I kind of it didn't. So once I got to school, and then that next year we started and we got to 3D, it's like the first class, and a lot of people were overwhelmed by it, but I was like, I'm pretty comfortable in it already. I'm already kind of like, okay, let's go. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that. So I think it's good at the Ringling. They're kind of introducing it to people sooner, but yeah, I had a little bit of a background. And then also just like, if you messed around in Premiere, if you messed around in After Effects, any like kind of software, you get like a literacy, I think.
You do,
for
sure. Yeah.
For a general idea of like, oh, maybe this does this, and you can kind of just mess around.
Yeah. You kind of just learn the tools when you go to a new program once you have like the base, because it's like layer based, it's some of it's node based. You just get like a gist of like how the programs work, and the UI is kind of similar, and
that was a big adjustment, is because for the film I used Nuke to composite.
Oof,
and I was I was very comfortable with After Effects, and so just the whole time I'm just like, I could do this After Effects in like 5 seconds, but by the end of the film I was comfortable enough.
You start appreciating some things with Nuke, actually.
For sure, absolutely.
I was in the same boat, actually. I started.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I actually made a film as well for school, for Sheridan.
Oh, awesome. Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you went there. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I graduated from Sheridan postgraduate program, and you had about 4 months to create a film from scratch. So it was 4 months of learning 3D, 4 months of creating a film.
Wow.
And so it was freaking intense. Let's say there were a lot of nights where I slept under my desk.
Yes. Hey, I did that too.
Yeah. Animation students know. Yeah. It's hard making a film. Some people don't understand, and I'm making a video coming up, just kind of like ranting about people getting in contact with you about like, hey, I got this passion project, like, could you like help me out with it? And it's like, I'll do this like non-trivial thing that'll take 3 minutes, but could you make this film like for 30 seconds? I'll just put my voice over it, and like we'll make a lot of money. It's like, what are you talking about?
Dude, you don't know how many like messages I've gotten like that, and like I understand, like I don't get like mad or offended, but yeah, I don't. You're totally right. I think it's I mean, it's hard to comprehend. I don't know what a lot of other people do in other professions, so like I can understand it, but also it's just like it's kind of brutal sometimes. You're just like like I was sleeping under my desk for like a week the last little bit of like making the box film, and it was just like, oh man, that
getting
was
those renders in.
Yeah, it was just a blur, dude. I got what's actually this is just a random story. I don't know, I just thought of it, but I was sleeping under my desk, and I woke up the next day, and I had like my face was like swollen, and I was like, I talked to my mom. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I was just like, I don't know if it's just because I haven't like slept that much, and then I think we realized later. But it was swollen, like seriously. It was no, it was a spider bite because I was sleeping on the floor, and so I think I got bitten on the face, like on the cheek. So like half my face was just swollen like this.
Oh my god!
And I'm just animating my film. It was brutal. But yeah, man. So I had
great for interviews like this, right?
Exactly.
That's great.
No, I just thought of that. I don't know why that popped in my head, but
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's some serious struggles when you're going to animation. It's some brutal working hours, and then the thing is though, once it gets better once you get into the industry, but not by much. When you go through crunch time, it gets pretty devastating as well. Like you're doing like 10-20 hours of OT a week on top of like your full-time work, so it gets pretty crazy.
I've heard that. I can't say because I haven't had a massive amount of experience, as far as like working a job, but I've heard that visual effects are pretty bad, and then also it can just depend on the studio. Some studios seem to be pretty solid about it, but some studios, it depends. So I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, with your film, you're gonna land the job, no problem. Are you looking to get into 3D animation or like?
I think so. Yeah, I would like to specifically, do character animation. So we'll see. There's some things floating around, but I'll see what I end up landing on for sure. But I want to focus on character animation for now, I think.
Okay, that's good. So I got a question for you. How did you come up with the idea of the box assassin?
Yeah,
because it's like it seems like a mix of John Wick and with teleportation powers and just very a lot of flexibility.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was interesting. Like the second semester of our junior year, that's the pre-production phase where we're pitching ideas and like coming up with stuff for the film.
Yeah.
And so it's like a semester's length of kind of work, and the whole setup is that you pitch ideas to the faculty, and by the end of the semester with like 5 weeks left, you're supposed to kind of end up with 2 ideas that have like animatics, character designs, and they're kind of fleshed out, ready to go. And then the faculty votes on those 2. They're like, you should do this one, you should do this one, or you can choose which one you do, or like you need to do a new one. So I went through all that semester, did both ideas, pitched stuff, and with like those 5 weeks left, like they were voting and stuff, and they're like, you can do either film that you pitched. I was like, oh cool. I was thinking that I was like, I have this other idea. I was like, I'd really like to do this one. If that's all right.
Was it the Box Assassin?
And it was the Box Assassin. But the other 2 films, there were nothing related to assassins or boxes or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's also something interesting about it, was just the other 2 films I just realized I didn't click with. And so the Box Assassin was actually something that I had pitched it in my second round of ideas.
Yeah.
And where I found it from, I was looking for ideas, just stuff, and I went back through my Google Drive, and I found something from like high school that when I was just like writing out ideas, I think it may have been during the time when I was like trying to make that film on my own or whatever. And I was just like, and so I had this long thing written, and it was like really complicated and weird, and it didn't make sense, but it was like a drama about a man getting revenge for his family, but he ends up like killing the mob boss by like hiding in a box. And the title was The Box Assassin. I was like, I don't know. And so I did a little drawing of just like a dude in a box with like glowing green eyes. He had like those like Tom Clancy goggles on or whatever. Yeah. And people responded to that, and I was like, I don't like it that much. I was like, I don't know why people like this so much. But people liked it a lot. But and so once those 2 other ideas happened, and I just looked back at them, I was like, I don't really like either of these ideas that much. This other idea was like sitting there, and I was like, everyone seems to really respond to this, and over time I definitely like action related things, and that's kind of like one of the genres I like the most. But it was just not fully developed, it wasn't quite there, and so I was kind of stuck on what people were perceiving it as, and people were perceiving it as kind of like a quirky Despicable Me, goofy comedy. and you know, that's not really stuff I love. I was like, you know, I want to do the other films, while they weren't what I loved, I would say maybe they were a little more mature still. And so I think once I started to develop it and get it into that zone, I was like, wow, okay. And it's crazy because I never thought, you know, the thing I was most terrified going into this whole process was like, I don't want to work on a film for a whole year that I don't like.
That's fair.
And that just terrified me. It was like, I don't want this. I was like, I want to be, you know, really enjoying what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised. And it took a lot of passes. It took a lot of like reiterations, but slowly, you know, with help of like my professors too, and feedback from mentors and all, you know, friends and stuff, I got, you know, a lot of great notes from people. It really started to take shape, and I was like, wow, this is turning into something. But yeah, it was just a long process. You know, it started from that initial idea, and that kind of sticked, but it just took a lot of iterations to get to, you know, what you see today. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Just having great professors and great I was gonna say colleagues, but just other students.
Exactly.
Yeah,
people that are just honest, and it's that's I think one of the most important things I had throughout the making of the film is I had great professors that were honest with me. I had great, I have people that I trust, like friends and family, even like my brother, that, you know, I'll finish a pass of the film, or like, you know, once I was in production, I finish a shot or I finish a lighting pass. And I mean, I had like my messages open constantly, you know, not to text people, but I'd be like, hey, take a look at this. And then, you know, I'm sending it. And I think, you know, all these people know, because I trust them. I'm like, I'm not asking them to just say, wow, man, that's so cool. I'm expecting every time every time I send something, I'm expecting like, like maybe you could change this. And like, that's all I got. And it's kind of tough, but like eventually you get to the point where you're kind of like numb to it. It's still tough. Like I still like, I don't know, getting feedback is always difficult, but like
100%, and it's never easy, you know.
It's never easy, but I think you do get more comfortable with the idea of being vulnerable, and especially if you trust those people. You know, I kind of know it's coming. I know there's going to be notes. I'm anticipating it. It's still brutal, but it's just like
if you know their intentions, and then it's a lot easier to take then.
Exactly, yeah. And also if you know the end point, it's like. You know that like looking back, because something that happened in school was I had made some projects before, which, you know, helped me get some other opportunities and whatnot. And the thing that, you know, I was always scared. I look back on a project, I'm like, how'd that like turn out? Like, I don't even understand like how everything worked out totally. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's like sometimes you look back at something and it turned out, you know, better than you thought, and you're like, I don't know like how that kind of happened. It just kind of happened. But like the consistent factor was I always showed my work to people, and if they had a good idea or whatever suggestion they had, you know, I'm not just going to take any suggestion, but, you know, I will consider whatever people say and just be like, is that something that could really help what I'm saying? And then another thing is, if I'm showing it to 6 different people and 5 of them all say the same exact thing, then it's like, okay, that's probably something I need to address. And it's like, maybe they all say like something slightly different, but it's the same. You just know that's something. Like in my film, there was a few times, certain shots where everyone would always say, that was kind of like weird. Like, I don't know. I didn't really like that part. It was kind of too goofy. Like there was one shot specifically where like multiple people said that. And I was like, all right, I have to change this shot. So I think that's the big thing. It's just looking back, it was just getting feedback. And with that, it really helps things to just always bring it up to that level. But again, you're right. It's just always difficult to get feedback. It can be tough.
100%. No, it's never easy. It's hard to like not take it personally, especially when you're like you finish a work and you're really proud of it, and then someone just tears it down. You're like, oh, screw you, but maybe you're onto something.
No, absolutely, it is tough. But yeah, it's just that's important though. You just gotta, and it's important too that, you know, when I think sometimes people get torn down by people that, you know, they get torn down. It's like you can give that feedback that's very honest in a way that doesn't tear people down. That's true. You know, and I think a lot of my professors and friends are really great at that and saying just like, Jeremy, like this isn't working, and it's like. I know they're not like you suck or just like, you know, like hurtful words like that can legit just stall people's motivation. It's I think it's dangerous, so you gotta be careful
with your mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's just careful, especially later on, to be, you know, like when I talk to people and people send me stuff online or whatever, you know, I'm not trying to tiptoe, but also I'm aware that, you know, your words have a lot of power. So
that's true. I
think it's just careful. Yeah, just because, you know, if someone like if that guy 8 years ago said to me, like, it's funny because now we know each other. I met him in LA like last year.
Yeah.
And we were laughing about what I sent to him. I was like, dude, look how bad this is. Look, like we still had like the first like ZBrush like face sculpt, and we was like, dude, that's so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, I know. But that he didn't say that. Like I have the messages. He was like, he responded. He said, yeah, man, like keep at it, keep going. And just like that, you know, he didn't like sugarcoat it like, wow, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
And he didn't just shut you down either.
Exactly. He wasn't like, that's like garbage, like what are you doing? So yeah, it's just good to find that balance, because I think if that would have happened to me, it could, you know, I'm not saying it would have stopped me, because I mean, I don't know, I think you can be determined, but again, it can be hurtful. So yeah, I think it's just something to be aware.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So did you was this a solo film, or did you have other artists helping you with this? That's a question I wanted to ask.
Yeah, of course. Well, all the visuals were me. I was responsible for. I did get help from Uni Cho. She's a viz dev artist. She designed the pizza logo.
Okay.
It's really small, but you see it on his jacket. You see it on the car.
Yeah.
And so she's really great. She has great art. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, would you like mind like designing this? So she did that. But all the other like modeling and stuff, yeah, that's me in the film. And then I got really amazing composer and sound designer and voice actors.
Yeah. So was that like a school thing where your school set you up with a composer?
No, they have some help. They have like a spreadsheet they kind of send out, but for the music and stuff, I was thinking, and something I was like, you know what, I'll look for short films that maybe kind of have the same vibe as what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And then I'll just look at the credits, and then maybe I'll reach out to those people. And so one of my favorite shorts on YouTube is a film called like Agent 327, like Barbershop. It was a Blender short.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. I think it's super fun. And the music's fun too. It kind of has like a spy like action theme. And so I went to the credits, and it was Sander Hootman for sound design and Vijay Birput for composer. I was like, I'll message these two guys, and they're both from like the same country. They both know each other, and they both agreed to work on the film.
No way, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
so I was like, no way. So you know, they showed up in a Skype call one day, and they're like, hey, you're here. And then they're like, yeah, like we're both here. So it was, they're a great team, and they really just knocked it out of the parks. And then for voice acting, it was a little bit of a search, but there's websites like voices.com. And it's really cool with that website because you can put out auditions for free.
No way, that's actually pretty awesome. I was thinking Fiverr maybe, but I didn't know that existed.
No, I checked Fiverr 100%. I did check there, because you know the character that was the most difficult to find was the pizza boy, Craig. Just because I was looking at this website and there wasn't many like younger black guys that are on there voice acting. And even like Fiverr, like I was just looking everywhere because I wanted to cast, a black person for the role.
Yeah.
And sense. I was just looking, I couldn't find anything. And then eventually I was like, I went to LinkedIn and I typed in voice actor. And then I just looked through the pictures and their description to see what they did. Yeah. And I saw this guy, Jonathan Miles, and I messaged him and he was like, yeah, man, I'm down for it. And he was really great. Like every step of the process, he was like, do you need me to re-record something or whatever? Just super great. So huge props to him. And then the other voice actors I found on voices.com, you know, like the boss and all that, but they also did really great. Just delivering the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
So
wow.
But I paid all of them, by the way, just FYI. That's
okay, I was gonna get to that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, dude, your resourcefulness is crazy. It's just you're not, and it shows. You didn't settle for anything in this film. Like you wanted the best. Like you can see how much detail you put into every single shot. Nothing's just like skimmed. Like all the little gestures are there, and the like foreground characters, background characters, it's all there. Like you got your arcs going. Like you can tell like you put your heart and soul into this film. Like it really shows. So
thank you, man.
So for this being your first like 3D produced film is actually like astonishing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was just it's just I think it's tough. Like looking back, it's like how do you manage? Like a few people asked that, like, how do you manage all the different shots? How do you manage? And like, you know, everyone in my school is managing big films. They're all dealing with a lot, and so we're all in kind of the same boat. The film was a lot. It was I think 50 shots, maybe a little over 50.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's very intimidating looking at like a spreadsheet of that. Just like 50 slots you have to fill.
And it's not even like so it's like that's maybe like a Disney animator's entire reel on a film. And, and they're just doing animation. You're here like modeling, sculpting, UV mapping, lighting, and there's like, you know, there's details in every aspect. It's not just like details in animation. You got like I saw you know, back to resourcefulness real quick. You've gotten this film out quick and to like a lot of places, so I gotta talk to you about that like privately later. Try and get some pointers from you. I actually, like right before the call, I saw that JD posted a video reacting to your film as well, so congrats on that.
Thank you. I didn't there's other things that I did, but I did not do that one. I was
really
awesome. I didn't talk to him at all. I saw it. I was like, what the heck? I was like,
I'm gonna message him actually. I'm gonna message him after this. This is awesome.
Yeah, huge thank you to him. That was really nice. I saw that too. But it's just like, as far as just like details and shots, it's like trying not to get overwhelmed by everything at once. And then I think, you know, also a Disney animator, you know, their shots, they have like 2 minutes and 30 seconds of like pristine. But my animation, you know, is not. Maybe I have one shot that's like close, like 90% close to what they have as far as like quality and like polish level.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Your stuff's pretty good.
Well, I appreciate it, but as far as like, you know, overall quality, like as far as everything, like one of the parts that I like the most, you know, not many people notice, but it's the when he slams on the car pedals for like the gas. And you know, I had fun with that. Like that was something I kind of enjoyed doing.
Shifting the weight of the car and then just sliding, and you know, you're giving the car a lot of weight, and it shows too.
Yeah, and like animating the car was fun too, just to change things up. But like with the pedals is like, it takes like a lot of times it takes just a little bit of time to add that little extra layer. That is almost annoying to add, and for like. I think like the gas pedals, like if you look, there's footprints on the gas pedals.
I'm looking right now. Oh, I see it. Yeah.
You got little... I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I added like a little dirt, you know, just to dirty them up so it feels like it's been driven a little bit. But also, with that, it's just like a balance of things. Like when you're doing a project for that long, it's just like you're animating, and like we have different periods too with the school. I should say this, as far as like you kind of have a period of layout, and then you get critique on the layout, and then after the critique, you kind of move on to animation. And after animation, you get a critique on that, and then you move on to lighting. So this kind of sectioned out, but also like, you know, not everything is totally finished. Like I finished animation technically the animation period was from like September maybe, or like like maybe late September to the beginning of December. So I'm kind of butchering it, but it's like 2 months. But I was animating up until May when I finished the film. You know, I was like, when I was texturing something, I got kind of bored of that, so I hopped back, and you know, while I was watching like a YouTube video, I just like cleaned something up a little bit and just pushed it a little bit further. And then the same thing with texturing is just like, when I got tired of like cleaning up a shot, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna add this little detail in here, and try not to make it like trivial, because sometimes you can get focused on details that don't matter, and that's a big thing. Because there's also things in the film that I'm totally just like, like in the shot where the box assassin jumps out of the box and the kid, like the hands are pointing out and then he jumps out. I didn't render the box assassin's hair in that shot. Like it's still just Geo. But like you see it for 4 frames, like it doesn't matter.
No, I just it's there for like one smear frame. I just checked
exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's all kind of like little things like that where it's like you can get away with it. And like all the light poles in the shipyard, like none of those are textured. They're all just gray. And it's like I can get away with it because they're not the focus ever in the film. It's like that's I'm always smart. Focused somewhere else. So there's a lot of ways, you know, I kind of skimped, but I skimp everywhere where it doesn't matter.
That is an important lesson. That is a very important lesson.
Another huge thing is like something that no one has really talked about, which I'm glad, that's good, but also like Craig's hair and his jacket. Like nowadays, like geocloth is kind of, you know, and I'm sure like most people can kind of notice, but I think you look past it a little bit. But that was my thing, is like I don't want to take the time to simulate cloth because I know it'll take away just from everything else. Like it takes so much time to try and do that. And then
so
the same
how
thing.
How did you end up getting the cloth look on?
For him, it's just like a displacement map and a bump.
Oh wow.
Okay. That's really all it is. And I was like, you know, I looked at reference and was like, I just gotta kind of find a style of jacket that'll feel real enough. You won't be like, why is that not like moving around all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And then even his hair, like his hair, it's kind of, you know, dreads, but like it's not quite long enough to where you're like those should be like moving around, but they never move, you know, they're not rigged at all.
You don't notice.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are little things like, you know, I wish, and like I you know, kind of like in my heart I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have just like add a little overlap to those, or even the jacket. It'd be so nice if that had a little movement, like that would add a lot. But it just, with everything else, it totally, people look past it. They don't even
nobody actually notices, and it's only you that know all the imperfections of the film. But like when an average person watches it, they won't actually notice any of that stuff.
100%.
So wait, what was the timeline of the film? How long did it take you to make? How long did you have to, you know, from scratch, from like idea stage to rendering? And just to like back up a little bit,
of course.
You know how you mentioned you were animating it and going back to texturing and like, you know, going back and forth. Yeah, it's never clean. I was rigging my character 2 weeks before the deadline, like mid animation. I kept going back and like fixing paint weights, painting the weights.
Absolutely.
It's never clean.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah, but so how long did you have for the entire film? Stretch to.
Well, like I said, like the box idea, I had the second semester of junior year, but I pretty much stomped all of it because I didn't start the box assassin idea until about 5 weeks left of the semester.
Wow.
So I started. I had the idea, and then 5 weeks left. I was like, all right, we're gonna do this and like make this thing happen. And then it got developed. And what I ended with was something much different than like what's final, but like my final animatic that passed and got approved. He was a delivery boy, but essentially there was no car or glove box. The ending in this film was he shows up to the docks, he's got the pizza, and the boss, I'm trying to remember. I don't even totally remember, but like the boss like takes him hostage, and then the box assassin pops out of the pizza box and shoots the boss and saves him. And then he still gives him the money and everything.
I like this ending a lot more.
But with that, I was like, oh, you see the box, the pizza box, you kind of know it's coming. I feel like even in the film, maybe you don't, but I was like, I want to surprise people a little bit more. I was like, but then I had the idea of like, oh, there's a glove box and cars. And I told my professor, and he was just like, you don't have time for that this semester. And he was right. Like he was like, just do what you have, like finish it and show them so they're okay with it, and then over the summer explore that idea. And so I did that, and I went with that. But then over the summer, I was at Disney that summer, but just over the summer I was like, kind of typing out like the beats of the film if the glove box part did exist. And my professor then for the next year, he was like, I think the glove box thing could work. He's like, explore it some more. And so I just would like board out little shots on paper and stuff and kind of feel it out. And eventually it kind of transitioned to that. But the timeline as far as the film goes is, the story happened in May of 2019. That's when the semester ended. And then I started school in August. So I guess production started in August of 2019. And then the film was fully rendered by the beginning of May 2020. So like the CG aspect took less than a year. I'm terrible at math, but it's less than a year. So from August 2019 to the beginning of May is how long. Beginning of May 2020 is how long the CG aspect took.
That is impressive, to say the least.
So hopefully that's clear. Sorry, I was a bit long, but that's a kind of a timeline of things. Because a lot of the summer was just I was at Disney doing that for May, June, July.
So you just nonchalantly dropped that you were at Disney. What were you doing at Disney? Yeah. What's going on here?
I was a CG artist intern there over the summer.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I was an intern with 5 other people, really all talented people, and we worked on a short film there, just like a 30-second short for I think we were there for 9 weeks. So with that, I did layout and animation on that short. And then, there was some artists that handled the modeling aspect, then some interns that handled the, all the other aspects. So we kind of split everything up. And it was a lot of fun to just, collaborate with different people and stuff. Because at school, it's kind of isolated. You're always working alone. So it was cool to, be able to work in an environment like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, congrats on the internship.
Thank you.
Have they called you back to come back for full time? They will once they see this interview.
Yeah, I can't. They usually their hiring process is usually like they don't they have like an apprentice program that usually people go through. So like after you finish school, like you can go through the apprentice program, and then after that, like there's a possibility that you get hired. So they're very picky and stuff, but we'll see. I don't know. Who knows what will happen? I'm not sure.
Let's move on to the budget aspect. Did you have a budget for this film, or did you? I think I read something about a Kickstarter. I don't know where I saw that.
Yes, you did your research.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
good.
so
let's get into it.
Well, there's not much to it, but I didn't have a budget, for the visual aspect, but I launched a Kickstarter and raised, I think, about $2,500, maybe $3,000 for hiring the composer and the sound designer, because I approached them and I was like, hey guys, like, do you want to work on this film? Like, here's some of my previous work. And they were both like, yeah, we like the idea. Like, I think it'll be fun. And then I asked them, like, how much do you guys would like to be paid? So I just asked them, tell me whatever. And that's kind of what I'll base the Kickstarter off of. And so after that, I launched Kickstarter, and thankfully lots of support from friends, family, and just people all over. It was really really thankful for that. So that's where the budget came from. And a lot of students do that at school. That's kind of the norm, is to hire a professional composer and sound designer through launching a Kickstarter. But I already had some content. I launched it like after the film was already through like layout, so I had a little bit of content to show people that like this is a viable thing. It's not just some guy saying like, ooh, I'm gonna do this thing. So there's a little bit of proof of concept.
No, that for sure helps a lot. I'm sure they probably wouldn't have jumped on board if you had nothing to show.
No, exactly. It's like the guy we talked about earlier. Like, hey, I got this great idea. 3 minutes. Give me give me $3,000. It's like, well, you gotta show a little bit. So
that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's really smart. From my film, my film was about like 1 minute and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, 1 minute and 30 seconds, and there was like a total of like 15 words that I needed to be spoken,
really?
But I just couldn't do it for the life of me.
I see.
So I just hopped on
like voice acting, or
it was like I just needed like a voice acting, for
Gotcha.
Like about 15 words of voice acting for the film.
Right.
But I hopped on Fiverr and I found like this guy sounded like the freaking Optimus Prime. So I hired him for literally $7, and this was like before Fiverr was like actually $7.
Right.
And I hired this guy. He charged me $7 to give me like 4 different variations of like lines, and
wow.
like I was blown away. It's like the
Yeah,
classic like cinematic voice, like in I don't know.
That's cool. You have to
in
send
a
me that. Maybe
universe long time away. Yeah.
I'll have to use that for like
It's
something coming up. But yeah,
it's
like I looked on Fiverr. I just couldn't find, specifically what I was looking for. But yeah, like if people are looking for voices and stuff, like just look anywhere you can find. Just
yeah.
like there's all kinds of people. So yeah, I just say just Google everything you can get your hands on. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to send my film to you
No,
after
I'm
seeing
really
yours.
curious. I really want to hear the Optimus Prime voice. That has me hyped. So I want to check it out.
Okay. I'll send it.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, just keep in mind 4 months to learn the program, 4 months to from like idea to end. Just
that's so
keep that in mind before you watch it.
Of course, yeah, that's intense.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Do you have time or?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, what are you planning to do with the film? Like aside from pumping it out there, what's the goal? Or is there a goal?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of like been, I mean, from this, I don't know. I didn't really have intentions. I set out senior year. I set out junior year. I guess I was just like, I just want to make a film that I like. I was like, I want to leave. Well, I wanted to leave pre-production. I was like, I want to leave this with something that like I'm excited to make. And then senior year, I was like, yeah, I just want to leave here something I'm proud of. And I mean, I think that's the goal 90% of the time is that I like what I do. I like art, 3D, like filmmaking. That's what I love. Like I'm happy doing that. And then I want to be proud of it. And so really those were my only goals. Okay. But now I think it's really cool to see people responding to it. And just, the response online has been insane. So I still like the project and I still like the characters in the world, which surprises me so much because I was in that state where I had these 2 ideas that I hated, I loathed. And I was just like, I don't want to make these ideas. And then I have something that now I still look at it. I still, think about making, more content related to it. I'm just like, it doesn't like make me want to die. It's like it sounds fun. I'm like, I actually still like these characters. So, to be honest, I'm open and we'll just see what happens with, people online and what people think. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I was reading some of the comments on, I saw your film on YouTube and some of the comments were like, oh man, I thought this was a full film. No, I can't wait to see more. And it was all just positive comments. So there's definitely some, and you're already at 20K views, so you're getting like a lot of traction.
It's amazing. So really thankful for people sharing it and whatnot. But it's funny when people are like, they're like, I think some people are like, oh, like sweet, like the full film will be out in like a few weeks. And I'm just like, some people too have been like cool, man, like can't wait to see more. I was like, cool, I'll get back to you in 4 years.
I'll have another 5 minutes.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what's next. I'm open to opportunities and whatever's ahead. So yeah, but I'm also just super thankful people are checking it out. It's super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So is there something you learned while making? I mean, I'm sure there's like a lot that you learned, but maybe just like one short thing you can talk about that you learned while making this film, and also kind of piggyback off that. What would you do differently if you were making this film again?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Good luck answering.
I hope so too, man. As far as what I learned, I talked about this a little. There's the rookies contest that happens, and they asked me to like write something, and so I kind of wrote about this too, in a little like blog article thing. But it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. About just like getting feedback about your work. Yeah. But it also stems back to just me being insecure and like really scared going into making this film, because I had some projects before and I was proud of how they turned out. Like I really enjoyed working on them. They turned out well, and just after I finished that, and I was like, man, like I liked how that turned out. And then I turned from that, and then I look at senior year, and like now I have to make a film. Like it really scared me because I was just like, I felt like it's just the fear of failure, that kind of thing. Sure, yeah. And so I kind of had to think about like what is consistent, like what am I doing that is helping me succeed, like with the previous projects, like what helps those projects succeed, because not all of them succeed. And so it's definitely not 100% bulletproof, this kind of thing that I'm gonna say, but it's definitely helpful. It's definitely like the best thing you can do to give yourself the best chance of success. And in general, that's just like always getting feedback and not settling, especially when the feedback is like obvious, you know, when it's when you have something that you know you can fix, or something that you can get notes on, and maybe you know there's something wrong with it, but you know you're just not showing it, you're not being vulnerable with your work. I think that's when you set yourself up for something that's kind of half baked, or it's not fully fleshed out, because you know once the film's out there, you settle. Yeah. And it's really difficult. Like I have some examples in the post, but like one example that I do talk about is the opening shot of the film, which is like I really love that shot now. I think it's super fun. But for a long time I hated it. Like I always wanted the first shot to go by, but like the reason was it just didn't feel quite complete yet. And what the shot was originally was the camera goes down from the door and you look at the box, and the box is just kind of on like a suburban front porch. Nothing really super interesting. It's just kind of like your average like wooden porch. And it was that way for a long time. And then when I was talking with my girlfriend, she was like, I send her work too, and she gives me like she's honest, which is fun.
Is she in the field at all, or?
She is, yeah. She's in animation as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, I trust her, opinion, and I was just like, well, I sent it to her, and she's very honest. And sometimes I'm like, that's annoying. Like you're right, you're whatever. It depends. But with this shot, we were talking about. I was just like, I was like, I'm just not happy with it. I was like, it's not there. And she's like, maybe it could be like in like a city, like a stoop. And she's thinking she's from New York, so she's thinking like, she's not from the city, but that's kind of where her mind is at. She's thinking like New York City, Brooklyn, there's like stoops you walk along. And she's like, what if it's that? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. I was like, that could work actually. And but also like remind, like this is in like February of 2020, so I have like 3 months left to finish the film. And so I'm like, I was like, I had already been using an asset from a friend, because this was actually the one thing in the film that wasn't really going to be mine, is I had this like house asset from a friend that I was going to use, and it was great. It was a nice house, but it just wasn't the right feel for the opening shot. It wasn't specific quite enough for the film. And so she was like, maybe do that. And I was like, she's right. I was like, that's a good suggestion. I was like, that'll work.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all right, we're doing it. So I just figure it out, model the stairs, but like that's huge. Like that is now like, one of my favorite shots from the film. And I definitely can say that, not because of the house that my friend had, but just because like it didn't fit the feel. It wouldn't have been the same if I wouldn't have made that adjustment. So yeah, again, it's just even in those late stages when you just like you're kind of done. You're like, I really don't want to hear another word. Because also during school, you're going through faculty feedback. You're getting feedback from professors constantly.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just feel so defeated. It's tough.
Yeah.
But you just got to push through, and you're just like, they're right. Like, that's still like the best solution, whether or not I like it. So it's really tough, and you can't hurt yourself or, like never sleep or something like that if like students are listening. But again, it's just like trying to push it. If you hear that better suggestion, you're like, you know what, I'm really gonna try and make this fix, and maybe try and make this work. So that would be kind of my general advice. I know, again, that's a long answer, but
that's a really good advice though. I wish I took that. Actually, I feel like it's a good advice. I feel like if I took that when I was making my film, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you had 4 months. Like, it was almost impossible. Yeah. So you do the best you can, absolutely, with the time you're given. But sometimes I just know that I've been in that position where, like, and I don't think I've been in it a lot, because generally speaking, I have that mindset of like, all right, like, it doesn't matter if there's a week left. But also just sometimes I know I was doing a project like sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I was getting feedback from someone. And I asked them for notes. And he gave me notes. He gave me a whole slew of notes. And then he finished, and I was really tired. And he's like, "So when is this due?" I was like, "It's due in the morning." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "Dude, just finish it." He was like, "Stop." And so like that was one of those times where I was like, I maybe pushed it like a little too far. But at the same time, I think I tweaked one or two things. But then, you know, like I couldn't stay up all night, just whatever, you know, and then be late and not actually ever finish it. So you got to find that balance. You got to find that balance. But again, like I generally speaking, try and push it to the very, very last minute.
And again, like I mentioned in the beginning when we first started talking, it definitely shows that you didn't just skimp. Like you paid attention to every single shot, and nothing was really meh. Like you put your all into every shot, and it shows. So
I appreciate it. I do have a least favorite shot, but thank you. I can tell you my least favorite shot at the end or offline.
You know what? Let's do it right now. I'm going to it. I have your film open.
Really? You want me to tell you? I don't know. I probably shouldn't share this.
Okay.
I can share this. I don't care. It's fine. I want to be transparent. But probably my least favorite shot of the film is the birthday shot, the birthday box shot. It's like the third shot in the film. Yeah. Just overall. But you know, again, it goes by, it plays, it doesn't distract, it works. But that's one shot that I never quite was happy with. But again, life goes on.
I don't think it took away from the film in any way. It was
I
one of those,
appreciate
like,
it.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah. But now everybody knows my greatest weakness. It's that darn, like, dude, I that's one of those shots I spent so long on. Like, I asked my teacher, like, what do you know, I got feedback, and then I changed it, different angle. Like, I was like, I am spending way too long on this shot. But again, I got it. I kept working on until it was in a place where I was like, all right, this will work. Because I mean, I should send you privately the original versions. I look back at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is that? So but I'm just being transparent with that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I don't know. No one's gonna think anything bad.
It's all good. It's all good. I just think it's kind of funny too, but all good.
That's awesome. Okay, so do you have any plans to make another film? Is that something you're thinking about, or are you just looking for a full-time position as an animator at Disney?
You're emphasizing it.
Yes.
You know, I'm open to whatever comes. It's like, I think animation really drew me in, especially at college, because I found it to be really deep as far as like, once I learned about performance and acting, and I started to have people to show me what goes into like making these performances and stuff that you see on screen, I was just like, wow, it's so much more than I thought. It's so much more than what I originally thought. And it just seems, it interests me, and I just like to keep learning about it. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I really like making films too, and I like the filmmaking side of things. And that's kind of why, like, I don't mind doing the other parts of the process. Like, a lot of people just like hate like, if you're an animator, you hate doing anything else, you know?
Yeah.
Or if you're modeling, you hate animating a character.
Yeah, miss me with that rigging.
Okay, everyone hates rigging.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
No, there's some amazing people out there that do that, but again, like, yeah, I don't. And like,
sorry, go on.
Yeah. Oh no, well, yeah, I was just saying that, yeah, like lighting, I really enjoy. Like, that's something that I have fun with, and layout's like a big one too. It's just like I enjoy that, and so for me, it was never like a huge like chore, like, oh, I have to do this. Like, I was kind of excited to jump into the process. So again, like, yeah, I'm open to whatever opportunities come. I think like the current thing is I would like to learn more about character animation, because there's so much you can learn about story and performance and acting, I think, inside of that.
Yeah.
But again, like, you know, I'm open to whatever possibilities come, because I love filmmaking. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's great, man. So I think we're like nearing up on 1 hour now.
Okay, let's do 2. Come on, let's go.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for reaching out. Your film is just spectacular. It's crazy that it's, you know, 99.9% done by you, like sound design, and that's the kind of stuff that wasn't done by you. And
well, yeah,
all
I mean,
visuals.
All of it. all the visuals, but yeah, sound stuff is huge. It's just like like some of my favorite, like almost my like if I played the film just with the screen off and just listen to it, like man, I love what Sander and like Vijay and all those guys brought to the film. Like it's so good. Like the sound design on like the guns and stuff. When he sent me the first pass, because I had like a very like I sent him quarter digitals gun effects because they're very like they're very exaggerated, you know. They're not like sometimes in films they're a bit like weenie and just like they don't have a punch. I was like Sander, I want to feel these gunshots in my stomach when I hear them in my headphones. And dude, he delivered so hard. Like I was flipping out the first time he sent me the pass. I was like, you feel this in your soul, these gunshots.
That's great. Yeah.
So he definitely nailed that, and I'm so thankful for them.
For sure.
They were amazing. So, but thank you, man. I love talking today. You're a really chill guy. So thanks for
that was great. So I guess this is your chance to give any whatever you need to plug in, your socials. Where can people find you? Where can people find your stuff?
Right. Instagram, Jeremy_Schaefer, SCHAEF, and then just check out the film on YouTube. Just appreciate if anyone checks it out. That'd be awesome.
I'll link both of those down below. All right, thanks for talking today, man.
Of course, great. Appreciate it.
Yeah.